What's up, guys? This is Frankie Gomez with the Gomez Home Group at eXp Realty, and this is part 3 of touring Spring Hill, a video series where we're going to tour every main street of Spring Hill so you can decide if you'd want to move here. In part 1, we covered Spring Hill Drive. Part 2, we covered County Line Road. And in part 3, we're covering Mariner Boulevard. As always, if you have any questions or you're considering a move to the Tampa Bay area, you can reach out using the contact information below. Other than that, let's jump right in. All right, we're starting here at the Cataract and Laser Institute, which is on the corner of Mariner and County Line Road. So we checked out part of this area in part 2 where we covered County Line. But there's Mariner Village, Dental. We're going to make a quick U-turn here to head onto Mariner Boulevard. I just started the video on this side to give you guys a glimpse of the buildings and the services over here. So there's a auto body shop there as well. Across the street, we checked out already. There's the Jiffy Lube and the Starbucks, the Publix Plaza. And then to the left here is a pediatric office. On the right, we have Dollar General, some more medical offices, a funeral home. And then on the left up here, you can see that brick wall. That's Springhaven Apartments, so one of the apartment buildings in this area. And our first stop here at the light is going to be Wellington. Wellington's a 55 and over community. It's maintenance-free living. HOA includes maintenance on the lawn, the shrubs, the exterior paint, the roof of the home, and internet, cable, and all the amenities that the community has to offer. It comes out to $404 per month. Pulling into the clubhouse here now. As you can see, though, the community is very well maintained. The landscape's beautiful. Past a pond with a nice water fountain. And then this is the clubhouse. It has pickleball, tennis courts, restaurant, bar, and then also like a space for events. So my friends actually had their wedding here. Yeah, they have a full bar, full restaurant, and a really recently renovated pool area. They have both villas and single family homes in here. They call the single family homes patio homes because all of them have, or most of them have, large outdoor patios that are screened in. For $404 a month, I'd say it's a pretty solid deal for everything that they cover, and just also considering the community you get here. I will say that there are talks of apartments being built somewhere on the golf course that used to exist in Seven Hills. So Wellington's a part of Seven Hills. It's one of the subdivisions, and there are talks of apartments that are being built somewhere. A developer, I guess, purchased a golf course and wants to put apartments somewhere. I'm not sure exactly what the details are, but I know the residents are not very happy about it, which makes sense, but it's something that I just learned about, so I'm not sure on the details of it and how legit it is, but I know the residents are fighting it. Then there's the Mariner Office Park, which is exactly that, just a bunch of offices. There is a church there that we'll drive by here shortly, but also an urgent care, State Farm, some more professional buildings on the right there. There's a preschool as well. And then here's a PNC Bank. I had to reverse here because there's no outlet in this parking lot. As I mentioned though, Seven Hills has a bunch of different subdivisions. So there's 7 of them. We're only going to check out about half of them in this video because a lot of them are pretty similar. The first one here though is the Greens. Since they don't have a golf course anymore, it might make sense to change the names of these because the Greens sounds like golf course related, but the golf course hasn't been in operation for a while now. There's a home for sale there. I believe it's close to $500,000. Obviously, depending on the size and the finishes, if it has a pool and stuff, it's going to vary. But homes in here tend to be a little bit more on the pricier side, but you definitely can find some that creep down into the upper 300s as well. And this community actually connects to the second community that we're going to look at in Seven Hills, which is the Gardens. Gardens is another 55 and over maintenance-free community. As you can see, a mixture of single family and villas as well. The HOA in Seven Hills in general is just above $200, so it's $229 per year, and then in this specific maintenance-free community, it is another $85 per month for the maintenance fees. You won't have that in the previous one we checked out, which was the Greens. We're back on Mariner here. We're passing a BP, a Truist Bank, and then this plaza here. There's not too much going on in here. There's a healthcare center that sells like healthcare insurance. More professional services, I'm pretty sure, like a foot doctor, orthodontic, speech therapy. And then on the corner here is Susie's Grill, which I came here when they first opened, which was probably 7-8 years ago probably. But I haven't been there since. It's just not in the where I live. You know, there's other similar options closer to where I live, so it's just not somewhere I get to a lot. But I haven't heard anything bad about it, so. We're going to take the long way here through the back parking lots to get across Mariner to get into the Links, which is another subdivision of Seven Hills. Trying to avoid U-turns. So this is Seven Hills. This is the golf course on the right here. You can kind of see part of it that I was talking about. It's not active anymore. And like I mentioned, there's talks of apartments. I don't know where they would put them, just looking at the map and seeing the landscape of Seven Hills. But there is discussions about it that I heard probably a few months ago. And I kind of did a little bit of research, and I read that the developers owned it for a little bit now, and they just haven't been able to get it approved. But we'll see. I really don't know much more than that on the plans of that. I think it's pretty early stages, and the residents are trying to stop it. But this is the Links, part of Seven Hills. It's HOA's $207 per year. so just over 200 bucks. The other communities that we already checked out in Seven Hills was 229 per year. So I'm not sure if one of them was a mistake, but it's going to be somewhere over 200. But the listings I checked out said 207 in here. If you're still watching this video and you have some questions about Spring Hill, you can check the description below where you'll find some of my most popular videos about Spring Hill. Also, you'll find my contact information where you can reach out directly. All right, we're back on Mariner Boulevard. We're passing the plaza that we just went into before the links, and we're pulling into the YMCA. This is actually where I, in high school and middle school, this is where I came to the gym and, spent a lot of my time. I played basketball here and football in some of the fields. Not like, organized, just with people that were here and stuff like that. But they have a playground, a full pool, like swimming, and then a casual pool. And then they have some baseball and softball fields, and obviously a gym. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the YMCA. At this point, we're pretty close to Four Corners, which is what I mentioned in part one when we covered Spring Hill Drive. So once we make a right here, we're going to go straight first, and we're going to check out the estates of Seven Hills. But if you make a right here, we'll be close to Four Corners. Estates is very similar to the links. All the homes in all these subdivisions are pretty much built around the same time, the 90s, early 2000s. All right, now we're back on Mariner, and probably about a half a mile to Four Corners, or Spring Hill Drive and Mariner, the intersection. We just passed Linden, which we're going to drive down a future part of this video, but Linden kind of wraps around all of Spring Hill in like a loop. Well, it at least wraps around, excuse me, this part of Spring Hill. So it kind of does like a loop around this intersection here. But we checked out Planet Fitness, the trampoline park, and some of the amenities on the right here. When we make a left into this plaza, this is Winn-Dixie, and there's just similar stores here as well. Dollar Tree, barbershop, nail salon, Thai cuisine restaurant, Chopsticks, which I haven't heard of, so I'll have to check that place out. And then Winn-Dixie Liquors to the left, and past Winn-Dixie Liquors is Bank of America. And then a Mid-Florida Credit Union is here on the corner. Across the street, another place we checked out in a previous video and talked about a little bit was Chula's, the Mexican grill. And now we're on Spring Hill Drive, making the left onto Mariner. As you can see, we have a CVS Pharmacy, a Captain D's, Smoothie King, Checkers, a barbershop, Pizza Villa, an appliance store. One of my competitors, Florida Luxury Realty, and then Southeast Title Company, which I've worked with them before on some closings. Everything from here till Linden is all residential. I believe there's going to be a church on the left here as well, but apart from that, it's all just residential, non-HOA living. That's such a tongue twister. I always stutter when I say non-HOA. And yeah, there's also going to be a church up here as well. In the distance, you can kind of see the pillar there. It's a Spring Hill Christian Academy and also a Christian church. I believe it's Baptist. Here's another church though on the left. And then we're just going to check out some of the non-HOA living, just pretty much off of Mariner and Linden. So we're going to make a right here, and it's going to take us to Linden. As I mentioned, Linden kind of goes in a circle around the intersection of Four Corners, or the intersection of Spring Hill Drive and Mariner. But it doesn't just go around the intersection, it goes pretty deep into Spring Hill. It's kind of just a street that loops around and creates access points to certain neighborhoods. So if we kept going straight here, this would take us to Spring Hill Drive. And then if we went through Spring Hill Drive and stayed on Linden, it would take us to Mariner. And then if we went through Mariner on Linden still, it would take us again to Spring Hill Drive. And then that would again take us back to Mariner. So it's a big loop. But we're making a right here on Deer Street to check out Orchard Park, which is a kind of a hidden gem in Spring Hill. It's a small HOA community with larger lot sizes. There's one for sale for 0.4 acres for $80,000. I think that's one of the very few that are still available. It's the only one for sale though. But as you can see, larger lots, a little bit more privacy. The HOA is only $197 per year here, so. HOAs are all preference. Some people like them to keep like the neighborhood clean and looking nice. Some people don't like to be told what to do when it comes to certain things like being able to park a trailer or a boat in your driveway. But this is a very lenient HOA. You can have fences, you can paint your house and paint your front door whatever color you'd like. I do believe you'll probably have to still submit it for approval, but way more lenient than living in like a master plan community. And the fees are much less. In some of the master plan communities, especially as you head more south of Spring Hill, you could pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year for all the fees. That's because they have all the amenities like pools, clubhouses, and stuff like that. This is just strictly an HOA to keep the maintenance of the homes up. All right, we're pulling back on Mariner, and here's the Christian Academy that I was talking about. Behind there and behind Springstead High School, which is, you'll see these lights here. This is Springstead's softball field and baseball fields. Behind there is a lot of residential. We're going to pull into Springstead just to give you guys a glimpse of this. If you have any questions about schools, crime rates, and stuff like that, I can't specifically give you details on that, but I can provide some resources to you. So if you have any questions about that, you're a young family moving to the area, you can reach out and I'll share some websites that I use and provide to people to do their own research on schools and crime rates. That brick building across the street there is Springstead's theater. So they have a pretty big theater program, and the community also uses that to do their shows and performances and stuff like that. There's a lot going on here in this little stretch that we're going to make to Northcliff, but some things worth mentioning is Murphy's Market, which is like a fresh foods market they have like a large selection of meats, cheeses, just a bunch of different stuff. But it's a little bit more expensive compared to other places, but in my opinion, it's worth it. Here's Strike City, which is a bowling alley that was recently renovated. They also have an arcade and a new restaurant and bar called Uptown. I saw that they started doing comedy here too. So there was some events that they do. So like bands will play at Uptown, or I guess now comedians as well. But the main purpose is bowling alley. Landover is also a street off of, I believe we already passed it, but Landover, there's a couple of preschools called Bright Beginnings, and I can't remember the other name. I think it's First Friends. But this is the intersection here of Northcliff and Mariner. So we're passing a Walgreens, a Village Medical, Verizon store. There's also a Spring Hill Jewelers across the way. And then this plaza here is another Publix. There's also a Pizza Hut, a tanning salon, and then a Burn Boot Camp, which is like a workout studio in the area. And then in the main plaza, Great Clips, UPS, nail salon, Chinese takeout, of course, Subway, and then a Publix. So this street that we're gonna go on here, we're gonna cross Mariner onto Northcliff. There's Sherwood Florist, which is a popular flower shop here in the area, and then up there's a church and some apartment complexes, which is behind this plaza here, which is Winn-Dixie. There's a Cleaners here. There is Jam's Cafe, which is a breakfast spot and they do I think they do lunch and dinner now too, but it's actually owned by one of my close family friends. So check that spot out if you're ever in town. And then here's Winn-Dixie Liquors, and there's also Delirium here, which is a bar and a bar and grill. Some more professional services here. They just opened Charlie's Cheesesteak across the street there. You can see the sign, and there's like a little balloon here once we turn. I see a lot of Charlie's cheesesteaks in like airports and malls, but I guess there's one in Spring Hill now. I think I've had it once. I wasn't too impressed, but if you like Charlie's cheesesteak, you'll have one here in Spring Hill. A lot of this is residential, so from Northcliff, or where we just were on that corner of Northcliff and Mariner, all the way to 50 is a lot of residential. There's a couple of things that we'll check out, but not too much. That's very interesting. A lot of residential living here, which will drive some back streets here to give you guys an idea on some of the homes in this area as well. So this is one of the back streets that we're going to check out. As you can see on the corner there, there's a home for sale. You could find more affordable living over here. Another home for sale there. Like most areas of Spring Hill that I've mentioned in the other videos, it's pretty diverse as far as the type of home, how big, if it has a pool, updates. So it's going to range, but you can find homes that are as small as 2.2s in the 270 range or 260 range, up to homes that are 4 bedrooms, 3 bath for 450. So it just really depends. But yeah, a lot of different options. And this neighborhood is very close to St. Francis Cabrini, which we're going to drive by here in a second. It's a Catholic church in the area. All right, this is St. Francis. A lot of my friends that I grew up with went to this church. Some office space on the right, and then across the street there is a furniture store. It's called Smart Interiors. They do like lighting, furniture, all that stuff, all interior design stuff. On the right here, some more miscellaneous shops, and there's also a gun and pawn shop with an interior firing range, which was that yellow sign. And then we accidentally pull into the wrong parking lot here. But there is something cool to check out here. There's a new escape room. I believe it's probably a year or two old, right here, that we're gonna pull in front of. Again, not too much to check out in this area. A lot of residential, and then little plazas like this. There's also a surgery center that we passed that was on the left. And now we're approaching the light of Elgin and Mariner. Elgin's one of the streets that we'll check out in a future video. There's a couple communities that I want to show you on this street, and there's also a couple schools, but we will do that in a future video. We're probably about a mile or so from 50 at this point, which you'll get a preview of 50 as well. But first, we're going to check out one more community, not an HOA community, but just one more area of Spring Hill that's residential. and I believe we're going to make a left here to check out Spring Hill Elementary, and then we'll loop back around to check out the neighborhood behind this school. Again, if you want information on schools, just shoot me an email or give me a call. I'm happy to share some resources for you to do your own research. Alright, so we're back on Mariner. We're going against the grain here, back south on Mariner, just to pull into this residential neighborhood to give you an idea on what these homes look like and what you can expect in this area of Spring Hill. You can find more affordable housing back here. Spring Hill in general, though, has kind of like the same range, for a standard home, like the average home, you're going to be looking at like the average or median sales price we see in Spring Hill, which is around $330,000 right now. So that's kind of the base for like I guess like a 3-2 1,600 square feet. But it's going to range depending on location, size of home, and finishes, like I've mentioned a couple of times. But as you can see here, a pretty big variety on the left there. You can see some older homes that are a little bit smaller, and then you look at the one that we're approaching, this pink one here, or purple one. It's a little bit larger and just barely a little bit newer. But that home right there on the left there on that corner, that's a newer home, probably a early mid-2000s home. Alright, now we're heading back north on Mariner. Again, more residential, not much in between. It is kind of crazy though, because a lot of these homes you see on the corner of Spring Hill or of Mariner, they used to be model homes, and now obviously they've been sold for a while and owned privately. But now we're seeing more model homes go up on Mariner, Spring Hill Drive, and specifically a lot of model homes north of us now in Weeki Wachee, off of some of the new streets that are being developed up there. So it's crazy to see the growth in Spring Hill. As someone who's lived here for so long, there's been a lot of development, both residential homes and then also some new apartment complexes that we talked about, restaurants, and even some bars. Like we're going to see a new, not really a bar, but it's a brick oven pizza and tap room that was just opened probably about a year ago. It's in this plaza right here. So this is a glimpse of 50 or Cortez Boulevard, which we'll do a full video on this area in the future. But since we were on Mariner, I figured why not just pull in and include it in this video, give you guys a preview of the 50 video, I guess. Also, there's a lot to check out on 50, so it'll save us some time in that video as well. But as we can see, this is a pop shelf, which I'm not sure what pop shelf is. I just realized that was there when I was recording this video. But there's Shoe Carnival, that's been there for a while, Ross, McDonald's there on the left. And then we have a pet store, America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, Fantastic Sam's, a nail salon, Coastal Dental, Wasabi, which is a sushi and grill spot, Asian cuisine, Forever, it's called, Kiki's Breakfast, which is a spot that I first found in Orlando. and then Greek City, and then that's Smoke and Oak, which is wood-fired pizza and a tap room. But yeah, Kiki's is a place in Orlando. When I went to UCF, I went there for a year before I transferred to Florida State, and that's the first place I seen a Kiki's, and now I see them growing throughout Florida. But here's Twisty Treat. It's an ice cream spot, if you couldn't tell by the building. Alright, that wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it valuable. Parts 1 and 2 will be in the description below, as well as on a playlist located on my channel. And as always, if you have any questions or you're considering a move, you can reach out using the contact information below.